All right, thanks for staying with us. Now, it will be recalled that Obaseki had on the 2022 Workers' Day announced the payment of harmonized pensions to retirees in the state after 21 years, as well as the increment in the minimum wage in the state from 30,000 naira to 40,000 naira. Now, according to the Vanguard, he said, I want to assure workers in the state that as a government, we feel their pain. We know that things are tough and wish we had more resources as a state government for our people. Now, the 40,000 minimum wage we introduced was because of the pain our people are facing. And this was not when dollar was 700 naira to a dollar. It was when the dollar was still at 400 naira to a dollar. So you can imagine how the hardship of workers had progressed or is progressing. Now, as a government, we will join you to do everything possible to make sure that we get those who are in charge and those who are responsible for managing this country at the national level to stop this pain. While we commend this, of course, this act of very, very nice gesture, we can't but ask an important question based on the current economic realities of Nigeria. And the question is 40,000 naira minimum wage realistic, right? That's the question. Now, please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081 803-84663. You can also tweet at us at WayShowAfrica1 with the hashtag WayShow. So, SC took me out today. And we wanted to buy one cloth. See, this question, right? I don't understand why every time we discuss issues about wage, and I do not see some level of consideration from the part of the government to really understand the value of human life and understand what decent payment is. Because 40,000 naira might sound amazing, but what can 40,000 naira really do in this current economy? Let us be realistic. And this is not somebody being outrageously, a spendthrift or something. Just living your day-to-day life. A video surfaced yesterday of the Abia State governor speaking to Markwe when he was being interviewed.
An old video.
It's an old video though, right? When she was asking about pregnant women, and I said, oh, they give them 500 naira. You needed to have seen the look on her face, the countenance, right? That's how 40,000 naira sounds today. Because you really cannot go into the market. The bread that we complained about that we said we were buying for 800 naira, it moved to 1,000 naira. Today, it's at 1,100 naira. There's every single item. The other day I was listening in, they talked about the tariffs for our data or so, that there's going to be an increment. I think Loma, we were listening in on the radio today, Loma saying that, they want to increase, what's it called? Pickup, like the fee that you pay for your dustbin pickup. So there is no angle of this economy that you touch that this price is not biting hard. So it begs me the question that even if you are setting a minimum wage at 40,000, you might think you're doing me, but you are not technically doing me a favor. If we wanted to be realistic with this minimum wage, we will be thinking about 80,000 to 100,000 naira as a minimum wage to set up. If we understood, first of all, decency, and we understood value for human life, we will set a more reasonable pay standard for every citizen. That shows that, yes, you really care about my welfare and you really want me to do well and thrive in the economy. But when I see things like this, I just feel like this is not unrealistic. I mean, this is not realistic, and these people just want to always sound like, okay, I am doing something. That's how I feel. But hey, that's my thoughts. So.
Okay. So, because I don't have a lot to say, I will start so I can listen, right? I agree with everything you have said, really. I absolutely agree. But I still want to commend Edo State because, I mean, I don't live in Edo State, so those who live there and are watching can call to tell me it's just the media, right? But we've seen a lot going on with the states, some level of progressive conversation. I mean, even if this press release that led to this conversation, the tone of the conversation felt like no matter how bad it is, Nigeria is right now, if we had a president that is having this sort of conversation, press engagement,
empathetic,
and feeling like they understand what we are going through. I don't think everybody will be as infuriated as we are right now. So I like his style of leadership, and I like that they're doing something. I mean, Edo State, correct me if I'm wrong as well, based on their IGR and everything, they are not close to Lagos State. But I've not heard Lagos State, that 80,000 naira, 100,000 naira talking about, if Lagos State decides to do that and even be the leader in that area, because now we realize that when a state does something and does it well, you begin to see other states try to emulate what they have done, right? Now, I'm glad that Edo State is doing this, but a state like Lagos State is not even thinking in that direction. So that's why I'm saying I want to first of all say kudos to him and well done. And I'm hoping that more people, I'm not saying he's the best governor. Some people will call and say, oh, he's the worst thing that's ever happened to Edo State. That's fine. But with what we are seeing and the kind of engagement, then it makes me glad that at least we're not demanding too much. What we are demanding is doable, right? But 40,000 naira, even if it's just meal, we know what you had a conversation, was it last week or last 2 weeks on this table about the high cost of living. Just trying to make a pot of stew or a pot of soup, you know how high these things have become. So I don't know how people survive with 40,000 naira, even less, right? And this minimum wage is supposed to even be what you earn when you come out of, when you're done with school, like a graduate. That's the one that makes me mad, right? So that's what I really just want to say, is to just put it out there that governors can do better. They cannot just keep sitting back and deciding to feel that when we are complaining about the federal, they also have the right to complain about the federal. It doesn't work that way, right? So I just need to say that before I hand over to my darling Oti.
Wow. It's interesting. So when I hear you and I understand the disdain for the concept of 40,000 naira as a wage, but there are lots of people today that don't even earn that. 15,000 naira is plenty. 20,000 naira is plenty. Even when you talk about 80 to 100,000 naira, let's also be clear that that's actually not enough either. So it's a very relative statement. It is concerning, and it gives us the opportunity to stand up and say, what, 40,000 naira? Are you joking? Are you serious? But I like to ask the questions because the fundamental problems that we have today, we don't have money. We all accept that. Now, even in the face of not having money, our leaders are not being fiscally responsible, right? Because my first question always is, now that you've increased it to 40,000 naira, sir, I hope you can actually afford it to pay 40,000 naira. We must address some realities. Today, that 1,100 naira bread that you're buying, the person earning 40,000 naira is not going to buy that bread. They will buy the 450 naira or 300 naira bread that is literally 2 puffs of air. So, at every level, I don't think there are any Nigerians,
there's a price point,
maybe except the politicians today, that will tell you that they are not feeling the pinch, right? When a Loma tells you they want to increase their money, of course, they're buying diesel. Everything at an infrastructural level in Nigeria today is run on something that is fiscally impossible. Let me just use that word.
That's why we must set more realistic standards.
No, but it's not about realistic. Realistic also implies that you look at the money in your pocket. I can promise you 100,000 naira. I may even try to, we see businesses that do it, as in private businesses. I will promise, 100,000 naira, that's what I feel I should be paying you. But your business can't sustain the wage. What happens? You have to let that person go. So it is not just about the aspect of this minimum wage. It's cause and effect. You can't come and say that we all know the cost of living is high, but have you been fiscally responsible? We've talked a couple of times about the bloat in the civil service.
Thank you. You're coming to where I'm going.
Now, you, first of all, when you say, okay, everybody you're hiring today, even if you just do competency-based assessments to say, these people that are here, are they delivering value? Because I'm not just getting into the civil service to sit down and collect your wage at the end of the month. Every single person has restructured their finances. I'm sure everybody at this table has had to. Because when you were buying noodles at a carton at 1.8, and that same noodles today is 6,000 plus, or egg has gone from 800 naira a crate to 2004, 2005 a crate. Everybody has restructured, but it doesn't feel like our leaders are. There are tough decisions that you have to take when you are budgeting. So you talk about fiscal responsibility and you tell yourself, today, should I have everybody on staff? If you remember during COVID, some companies took the tough decisions. Rather than cut the wages of 1,000 people by half, we're just going to let go of 200 people so we can keep paying people. Now, in the short term, it might seem wicked,
harsh,
but the sustainability of the company is the first thing. If you can't keep the company running, everybody's out of a job.
True.
And that's how, the government needs to be run. You need to look at yourself and say, look, what is my income? Where else can I make money?
Thank you for taking us there, because I will come to you, Norma. Because in my head, I believe that every government can afford to actually pay a minimum wage of 150,000 from what we see. But the problem I see is the irresponsibility of governance that happens in Nigeria. And that's why I'm saying that, first of all, I do not even believe that they pay a premium to every human life in Nigeria. Because if you understand the reality, really, what can you buy today? If you really want to feed yourself for a month, even this 40,000 you were saying, feeding alone and transportation, you are done. There's absolutely nothing left. And you've not added rent that they expect you to pay a year ahead of time. You've not added amenities, water, and all of those things. So it is actually unrealistic. But let me hear your thoughts, Norma.
Yeah, I was going to go there because when we talk about the reality, like you rightly mentioned, of the state of things in Nigeria, I mean, the least you cannot, are you talking about electricity? Are you talking about medical bills? Are you talking about food? Are you talking about school fees for children who are going back to school? Are you talking about the cost of housing? You haven't added transportation. Transportation alone, getting yourself, it was the other day we were talking about, we said that the buses had increased their transport fare because of the cost of diesel.
I was shocked when I heard it's 500 now to get to Ajana or something. I'm like, okay, Elsie, you've been out of reality for a while.
You can imagine.
Really?
You can imagine. So when you talk about all of these things and then you cap it in the harsh economic situations of the country and you benchmark it with 40,000, I want to applaud the Governor Obaseki, for even attempting to do something, because a lot of our governors are not doing anything. They have not shown any form of empathy to the plight of people. You will know that these things are the reality that we found ourselves in. And if I may take that 100,000 that you had mentioned, if you cut it, if you want to apportion,
you slice it
for each of, you cannot even, food alone is probably going to take a chunk
and
for
transport.
A family, for somebody who has a family, and then transportation. Then medical bills are those are the things that don't even come up in the scheme of things when you're trying to budget for a family situation. So when we look at it, I would want to encourage our government to look inwards. The truth of it is that each state government has the ability to generate revenue. But are we ready to think through the process? We usually would just put up, we're a government that we say things before we actually think through this. How are we going to, if you go to the civil service and you think of how are the what number of people do we have? We don't have those numbers because these things continue. It's an opportunity for some people to be profiteering in the process.
Absolutely.
They will not give you those numbers because it is beneficial for them.
Thank you.
Ghost workers.
Thank you.
So it's a major problem that until we as a people, or the government, or the governors, or the people in authority, leaders, actually sit down, tell themselves the truth, and those solutions are really possible.
The bloated, the ghost worker one is one handle. your House of Rep, your Senate, all of those people, the income that goes
income
to,
doesn't.
we're not even touching that one. Do you understand?
Affect.
But let me take a break, because when we come back from the break, we'd like to open our phone lines to hear your thoughts on this. But stay with us. All right, thanks for staying with us. Now, if you just tuned in, it's our ladies' night out, and we're asking, is 40,000 minimum wage realistic? Now, please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. You can also tweet at us at WaysHowAfrica1 with the hashtag WaysShow. Our phone line is now open. The number to call is 07025007749. Remember to turn off the volume. Just bring the volume of your device down so we can hear ourselves. So the other day I needed to buy some plantain, and I sent my staff.
We have stopped.
Wait, no. You don't need to stop. You know the thing. So business day.
I don't even crave bread anymore.
You don't crave it anymore.
I don't. I'm not craving bread in a while.
You know, business day contacted me and they said they needed opinion polls from Nigerians. You know, how are you coping with the inflation? I said, fam, thank God for fit farm. I said, because now you can buy one bag of rice that can last you 1.5 years. Because I'm fit farming with a measurement cup by cup. So no, I give very practical solutions of what I do. Because for me, first of all, I don't really eat much. Then even for the eating, when you're cooking, you have to make sure you minimize. So you make sure that as you cook finish, as with the dish am, the pot the empty, because there is the fear of preservation. Because I'm talking about the plantain. I bought cheap plantain, yes, 3,005 was all over the place, but I ended up like half of that thing went bad because you don't even know how to preserve it. So you can't really forget to market.
You for sell or dash us.
I know. So, no, because the boys were home. I just thought maybe they will finish it on time, but they refused.
Came to this world to eat plantain.
You know, but I'm just saying to you that even when you bulk buy, where is the power to actually even preserve? Because bulk buying was supposed to help with that part of, you know, helping you plan to say, okay, you're not spending so much, you're able to bulk buy. Look at Lillian the other day that did the video on how she bought tomatoes and ended up spending 400k or something. You know, but I'm saying to you that all of these things tie up. But you see, everybody has adjusted but the government. And that's why, for me, I feel that this thing is really unrealistic. You haven't adjusted. You're still at the stage where you are. You're acting as if we have money. And that's why I will answer Uti that we have money. Because if we did not have money, like they try to want to paint that we do not have money, certain numbers would have been going down. A lot of things would have been cut down. The other day, the other day the government is buying cars for the neighboring countries. We are acting. Wait, let me finish now. We're acting like we have it all. Now, even for states, I've said this in time and again, some states are not viable. Can you just shut down? If your business is not going well, you declare bankruptcy and somebody else takes over. Do you understand? Let the states that understand how to generate money, because if this state was your business, your personal business that hits your account, would you run it the way you're running it? Would you pay a staff that kind of amount and expect the staff to do their job? But let's take a call.
It's not a business.
I don't know this Betty.
Aaron from Bayelsa. I promised myself I was not going to be angry today. Stay with. You're live.
Hello.
Aaron, you're live.
Hello.
Aaron, you are live. We can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. You people are talking about salary minimum wage of 40,000. It's funny. Can every up to 40,000? That's the first question.
Sorry, what did you say?
Can every state, can all the states up to 40,000?
Okay, Aaron, maybe they will need to cut you off. It's muffled, but I heard your question. And that is what I just said. That can every state afford? And the question why I just answered now.
But you are asking very logical questions in the face of illogical behavior. So the fact is, right, if I have 10,000 naira, I can choose to go out, spend 10,000 naira on a bottle of wine, drink it all, and I'm still hungry. Or I can use 10,000 naira to buy food, satisfy my hunger in a sensible way. That's what is happening. So the little we have, they are making sure that they are fine. How much has borrowing grown by in this administration?
Don't even go there.
So the fact is, we don't have money. Because if we did, we wouldn't be borrowing. It is that point that I was trying to make that says, you've adjusted your budget. You've adjusted your budget. You have found a way to live within your means. But everybody but who needs to has done it. Because at some point, we have not seen anybody come out to say, I'm reducing my salary. No. I'm not collecting my allowances. I'm not collecting my what's that thing called now? The ones that have already left office that are still being paid and all of that.
Gratuity.
We've not seen all of these things happen. But everybody is saying the country is tough. It's hard.
That's why everybody wants to get in there.
Thank you. So the fact is, the average man, who we are tracking our prices, and they are not. And this just BAU, is business as usual. So and that's where for me it's like the promise or the thought that says I'm going to increase to 40,000. Can you sustain it? Which is what I think Aaron was trying to say. That how many states can pay that? Now I agree with you that some states in Nigeria should not be states. But will the powers that be allow us to merge some states together, states that cannot generate IGR, states that, do you know what I mean?
They're trying to create
more
communities.
Because everybody wants to share FAC, everybody wants to share money, each from the national cake. Meanwhile, at the national level, and this is the thing, right? What have people done? Today, you and I, everybody's looking for a side hustle, everybody's looking for how to increase their
extra income.
At least if you cannot increase the income in a creative way, will you plug the leakages? I was reading the other day, we are losing 1.2 billion. So OPEC has increased production to 1.8. We've not even been able to clear 1.3. You know, when you hear barrels, barrels per day. I had to ask one day that, please, wait, how many days inside this barrel? They say a barrel is 154 liters. So calculate it, 154 liters times 300,000. And we are losing that, they say, on a daily basis, 300,000 barrels.
Billion.
We are losing per day $1.2 billion. Now imagine if that gap alone was plugged and that money was coming back into the economy. It's not rocket science. If you and I think about it, it's a very simple problem. But when you begin to ask this, they say, but this, like somebody said the other day, if you are going to steal 300,000 barrels per day, it's not inside jerry can.
Of course.
So we know that is not you and I.
Then we were at Norma's house when we were analyzing this thievery. The thievery is it's not even calculated. It's not even it is government. No,
I also like
organized crime. You know when a vessel goes missing? A vessel goes missing.
It be like black bra when lost. So I like that we're having this conversation now, and of course people are watching because we are also at a crucial time. And I mean, I just said that now, and my mind just asked me, is it this election that will save Nigeria? But then it's a step in the right direction, right? So when we use the word corruption, I think we've used that word for a very long time, right? And I like when you raise it again. And some of us don't understand the ripple effects of corruption, right? Just by having the ghost workers that have to take extra money from the system, it even means that if you say, okay, let's do 40,000 naira, you can't even afford it because there's a leakage. So there's a lot of leakage in every part of the system. Now, people are also not being paid enough, and it means that they also have to be corrupt in their workplaces, and there's a lot of leakage even in the civil service. So you realize that the people that we are even fighting for to say, oh, you have to be paid more, they're getting minimum wage, they're actually engaging in acts and things that are ensuring that they get enough money and enough to feed. And when you take it back, you realize that of course it's corruption, but you can't blame them because you are not taking care of them and they need to take care of themselves. So I think we also need to begin to leave corruption or take that big word out of it and understand that it starts from the very little thing that is happening in your office behind the door that you don't know, or you are turning a blind eye because all of us the chop for me.
Let me just.
So it's.
Go ahead.
So no, I'm done.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say, let me just sound a note of warning. When you see all those civil servants that have open shoe, where they're like the shoe don't open,
and they're very unprofessional and very wicked.
Those ones that look very scruffy. Those ones are the billionaires in civil
service.
They have
money.
Let me just warn you ahead of time. But let me take a caller.
The teacher who had 70,000 in her. Was it? I think 76,000, but she has 700 million or 400 million.
Yes, thank you.
You didn't read that story?
Yes.
Let's take a call.
Wow.
You're live. Switch off your. Hello.
You do have someone.
Please, when you call, just once your call has gone through, just turn off the volume of your television set.
Hey.
So you see, when you see those civil servants that look very scruffy and they look like the life has dealt with them, you know, those are the people that actually have what's it called, the billions. Those are the real thieves in civil servants, in civil service. So this thing, why it hurts me so much is that if the government was really serious about fighting this problem, they know. And I think that was one thing that I think Governor Ambode tried to do, because he is someone that grew
Has
from
worked
the
in the
civil
civil
service. So
service.
he understood
So
how
he
to...
knew their plans.
Oh no, he blocked every angle, every channel. So
Yeah, I remember them because I remember
But let-
going to a commissioner's office and they were really complaining.
Absolutely.
Oh, when they come up for here again, nothing.
Absolutely.
So
Let's
that's why
take a
lot of people
call.
were against him as well.
yeah, let's take a call. You're live.
Hello?
Hi, you're live. Go ahead.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah. You people said about Edo State governors paying minimum wage, right?
Yes, go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, it's only the state, it's not the local government. The local government, they are not getting it all.
Okay.
Okay, it's only the states that is
Only the
getting it.
states.
Okay.
Thank you. So are you clamoring for local government to get it too?
Yes, yes, I can prove it.
Okay. At least some people are getting it.
Thank you. I didn't even get his name.
Can
So,
I
just
just
go
quickly
ahead.
plug into the point where you made about some of the state governments, declaring a state of emergency? The truth of it is that
Bankruptcy. I didn't say they should just declare bankruptcy.
bankruptcy. The truth of it is that we have people who are unqualified
A lot.
to actually, because each state, if you check it, has the ability to produce something. But do we have people who are willing, competent enough to channel the energies? As in every state has the capacity to generate wealth.
This conversation only be like with Maro, because it now takes us back to the fact that in Sena climes, you realize that it is the brilliant ones that are going into civil service work and changing the economy, driving the sector, public sector and all that, because they know that they are important, and then the private sector are also hustling to get more people to work with them. But here, I don't think anybody that understands what they are doing want to work in the public sector. So that's another problem. So we are in a situation whereby those you say are not qualified are the ones available to run the economy. So how do we come out of the mess?
The elections.
So which sector we never touch for this conversation?
It's a very multifaceted situation that
Yes.
we have. And the truth of it is that if this minimum wage, I don't even want to call the 40,000, even though it's a step in the right direction, but if the minimum wage were to be what it actually is, check other climes. I mean, I want to compare this 40,000 to welfare that people in other climes that they give as welfare, not even the minimum, as in the minimum that an individual, working individual should attract to himself or herself. So if in the real sense of the word, we have people that are willing to walk the walk, I believe that every, because even in some of the states, you can't compare, for example, an Abia state to a Lagos state. If somebody is earning 40,000 in Abia, it might be easier to manage,
Or in
right?
or in Jos,
Or in
Zaria.
Jos, or in some of the areas that are not
Not urban,
boisterous,
yeah.
like in Lagos here. So things should be a lot lighter, even though they feel it at different
No,
levels.
but this thing you just said, even in New York, right? Nurses in New York, they tend to give them higher pays
Okay.
than other nurses in other parts of the US because of the cost of living.
yeah.
They understand. So it's just, Lagos is an expensive state, right? So cost of accommodation, everything is really high, is on the high side. If you move down to Ibadan, it's much more, what's it called? you can actually tolerate some kind of expenses in Ibadan based on cheaper things and all of that you find.
So has Lagos State increased?
That's my point. So you see, that's why I'm saying that if you have empathetic leadership, right, you are not just leading because you want to feel like, oh, you want to make it look like you're doing a job. But no, you're actually sitting down with the experts to say, okay, you know what, can we even say, okay, barest minimum, what would it cost for a decent person, young person, you have maybe, let's just even put it, a 1-bedroom apartment, XYZ, whatever distance, transport, you understand? What would it cost for that one individual to be able to
afford accommodation, electricity,
just live a decent, a fairly, as in at the barest minimum decent? All this money that they are calling, it will not even be part of the radar, because I mean, Lagos State government, I bought one of the houses on mortgage. When we bought the house from the 1-bedroom apartment, it was 9 million naira. Who can afford that? Your monthly rent house is about 70 something thousand naira every month. Who can? That's your monthly mortgage that you're paying as a, you know, to own the property. Then you have to pay a 20% down payment. So the things are unrealistic, and that's my point. That when you are setting up these things, do not set up something just to sound good in the eye of the people. No, be seen to not be seen to be doing work. Do the work. You understand? That's how I feel it should be. And if you do that, this money will not even be part of a conversation at all. But I think we have a caller. I thought we have a caller. Sorry, we have issues with network. We apologize.
You have to. I like when Elsie said rigmarole. You have defined the vicious circle. You have rigmarole the problem. The solution appears to be clear to you and I, but apparently clear is not so clear, because all the problems we face today, we are spending circa 6-point-something trillion on fuel subsidy. How much of that fuel is consumed in Nigeria today? Nobody can tell you. How much of that fuel makes its way down the coast?
Nobody can tell you.
Nobody can tell you. So I ask myself, in what's the methodology that talks about waste and leakage? Lean. This thing we're doing, I read a story. In fact, I was going to take it as my story, but it was just too depressing, where the World Bank said Nigeria was facing an existential threat because our debt to GDP ratio was progressing at an alarming rate. We have a problem that we are refusing to address, right? We've ripped the band-aid off diesel. We've gone from 160 thereabouts to circa 800 there. We have found a way to all align. We are feeling the pinch, we all are. The reason and the concern that I have, because if they take away the subsidy on the fuel, we have 6-point-something trillion to put back into the economy. But I'm not comfortable to say the government should do that now because of what seems to me like fiscal irresponsibility. You have to plug the gaps. If not, if the gap is there and you are now pouring more water, what happens is the leakage is just faster.
Thank you. We are losing calls today. Sorry, someone was calling from Ekoma. I think a lot of people were calling from Edo State. Yeah, and that's where we are going, Uti. If we can just at least be a proactive government and say, you know what, let's block off all the leakages, which is what I believe was his name. Peter Obi, I hear that was what he did in Anambra State. You understand? You know, I've seen businesses, right? When they come into a business space, what they do, if a right-thinking business person does not say, no. What they do, first of all, what are the challenges? You know, you want to generate revenue. Where are the places where we are wasting money, first of all? That's the first thing any sensible business person you do.
Efficient.
Do you understand? You first of all block off those areas where you are losing money. Then all of a sudden you now realize that, I actually have money to run my business. But we're not saying that in our governance. All we see all the time is, they want to borrow money here, they want to borrow. Have you even tried to curb the leakages? You know what? Let's take our comments. We've run out of time.
It says, good evening, ladies. I think the Edo State government has tried to even think of its citizen. Most of the states are not paying the minimum wage of 30,000 naira. Most of the states even owe their workers month's salary. I really agree with Elsie that I'm impressed with the thoughts. Most Nigerians are really facing hard times, but the government officials, especially the House of Assembly, have never thought of donating some of their wages to pay off ASU. We all should learn to give up some extravagant lifestyle. Considering the reality on ground, we need to adjust. It's not been easy using myself as an example. I no longer have free money to give out. I'm sure it's a phase we'll overcome, but we need to strategize and be wise. And that's from BC.
BC.
Thank you, BC.
So Austin from Delta says, well, while the move is commendable, ask the governor if there is Obaseki bus plying the major roads at affordable cost, accessible and affordable health facilities, low-cost housing for those workers on last rung of the ladder. I beg, let's all stop playing to the gallery. If he wanted the best, let him push it to 100,000 bo. Okay.
Brother, be coming down. Be coming down.
No much be coming down.
Living. All right, this is from our Ways regular fan. It says, good evening, my dear beautiful sisters of What Are You Saying? #Ways. Is 40,000 naira minimum wage realistic? The answer is a capital no. Why does this country fall my hand every day? I really don't understand. Are we that broke? Sister Uwa spoke my mind. Why can't they make it about 80,000 to 100,000 for a start? They can afford it. Someone has a lot of responsibilities and mouths to feed. Trust me, 40,000 will never and can never be enough. Are we buying recharge cards or pricing pure water? Sister Uti, you're welcome back. We missed you a lot. Thank you, Daniel Ilo.
Thank you, Daniel Ilo. And on that note, it is well with us in Nigeria. That's all I can say.
Vote wisely.
Abio. Not my finger.
Plan. Don't depend on the government.
Sorry, talking about voting wisely.
We need to go.
Yes, talking about voting wisely quickly. People that vote wisely are the ones who go on Instagram or on any post where GRV has been declared Lagos State running candidate for LP. All they are saying there is this man is too fine.
Okay.
This man is too fine. We all vote wisely.
Thank you so much. Before we go, thank you, ladies. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, everywhere. It's at Ways Show Africa. You can like, share, invite your families and friends to watch and follow the conversation. Now, if you missed today's quote, here it is again. Today, a minimum wage earner has to work a day and a half just to pay for a full tank of gas. That is simply shameful. We'll see you guys live at 8 p.m. tomorrow as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.